The right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
The diary of a young girl. For someone like me, it is a very strange habit to write in a diary. Not only that I have never written before, but it strikes me that later, neither I nor anyone else will care for the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. I've learned one thing: you only really get to know a person after a fight. Only then can you judge their true character. I trust to luck and do nothing but work, hoping that all will end well. May I have another reader?
The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside somewhere where they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, nature, and God, because only then does one feel that all is as should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. As long as this exists, and it certainly always will, I know that then there will always be comfort for every sorrow.
People can tell you to keep your mouth shut. They've told me that before. Because it's loud. But it doesn't stop you having your own opinions. Even if people are still very young, they shouldn't be prevented, there we go, from saying what they think. Be brave. Let's remember our duty and perform it without complaint. There will be a way out. God has never deserted our people through the ages. Jews have had to suffer, but through the ages they've gone on living, and the centuries of suffering have only made them stronger. The weak shall fall, and the strong shall survive and not be defeated. I don't believe that the big men, the politicians, and the capitalists alone are guilty of the war. Oh no, the little man is just as keen. Otherwise, the people of the world would have risen in revolt long ago. There is an urge and rage in people to destroy, to kill, to murder, and until all mankind without exception undergoes a great change, wars will be waged. Everything that has been built up, cultivated, and grown will be destroyed and disfigured, after which mankind will have to begin all over again.
We're all alive, but we don't know why or what for. We're all searching for happiness. We're all leading lives that are different yet the same. It's difficult in times like these. Ideals, dreams, cherished hopes rise and fall, only to be crushed and We're going to listen to the words of Nelson Mandela as soon as they do this paragraph. How wonderful it is that no one has to wait, but can start right now to gradually change the world. How wonderful it is that everyone, great and small, can immediately help bring about justice by giving of themselves. You can always, always give something, even if it's a simple act of kindness or a smile. And the words of the great Nelson Mandela.
President Obama tweeted this out today, and it inspires us as always. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite.
Amen.
I don't want to see my brothers kicked into the dust no more. Their dreams all turn to rust no more. No more, no more. I don't want to see my sisters having to give in no more. Their loving call to sin no more. No more, no more. And the Stonewall Nation's going to have its liberation. Wait and see. Its liberation. Wait and see. Just wait and see. For together we can rise above it. We're going to be ourselves and love it. The Stonewall Nation is going to be free. Come on, brothers. March along. We're all going to sing our song. Right now, right now. Sisters, take my hand. We're going to build the promised land right now, right now. And the Stonewall Nation's going to have its liberation. Wait and see, just wait and see. I can take your tolerance and stow it. We're going to be ourselves and show it. The Stonewall Nation is going to be free.
White supremacy has always been focused by the desire to control. That control in the past has focused on black people mainly. However, it has expanded to include everyone, regardless of race, gender, religion, political affiliation, etc. White supremacy is now an ideology and culture permeating democratic American society. The objection to the removal of the General Lee statue in Charlottesville is merely a way to mask their white supremacist self-hatred. Their hatred has now become systemic. Systemic racism has manifested itself in the form of mass incarceration, in the form of racially gerrymandering our voting districts, in developing methods of voting suppression, and in legalizing unreasonable bail bond assessments imposed on the poor. Donald Trump and David Duke talk about taking their country back. Back from whom? The United States of America belongs to all Americans, and we're not giving it up to anyone.
Fred. Way to go, Fred.
Fred, you're not done yet. Start us on We Shall Overcome.
Y'all look up the words on your smartphone.
We'll help you.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Someday.
We shall overcome someday.
Deep in my heart.
Oh, deep in my heart.
I do believe
I do believe
that we shall overcome someday.
we shall overcome someday.
We
Shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
deep in my heart.
Oh, deep in my heart.
I do believe
I do believe
that we shall overcome someday.
we shall overcome someday.
Yeah. We shall live in peace. Oh, thank you.
We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome peace someday. And overcome.
That's all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with a narrow, provincial, outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives in the United States can never be considered an outsider.
I guess it is easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait. But when you have seen vicious mobs lynch your brothers and fathers at will and drown your sisters and brothers at will, When you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, brutalize, and even kill your black brothers and sisters with impunity. When you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. When you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she cannot go to the public amusement park that has just been advertised on television, and see tears welling up in her little eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see the depressing clouds of inferiority begin to form her little mental sky, and see her begin to distort her little personality by unconsciously developing a bitterness toward white people. When you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son asking an agonizing pathos, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? When you take a cross-country drive and find it necessary to sleep night after night in the uncomfortable corners of your automobile because no hotel will accept you. When you are humiliated day in and day out by nagging signs reading white and color. Fred, may I say the word? When your first name becomes nigger and your middle name becomes boy, however old you are, and your last name becomes John, and when your wife and mother are never given the respected title Mrs., when you are harried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro, living constantly at tiptoe stance, never quite knowing what to expect next, and plagued with inner fears and outer resentments. When you are forever fighting a regenerating sense of nobody, then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. There comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over and men are no longer willing to be plunged into an abyss of injustice where they experience the deepness of corroding despair. I hope, sir, you can understand our legitimate and unavoidable impatience.
May I say one thing? I left off a sentence that I wanted to say, and that is something that the white nationalist supremacists would never say. Please join me in saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right on.
All.
So, we all came here for whatever drew us here today. And I'm going to borrow some words that I read today from John Pavlovich. Some of you may be familiar with him. He's an online presence. He's a preacher. And what spoke to me was that my skin pigment is the same color as those raw-throated, hate-spewing young men who marched. And I need to speak as a person of that pigment to those people and tell them that we are not you, and you will not define who we are. So we do not consent to this. In fact, we stand against you alongside the very beautiful diversity that you fear. We stand with people of every color and of all faiths, people of every orientation, nationality, and native tongue. And we are not going to have this. This is not the country we have built together, and it will not become what you intended to become. So you can kiss our diverse, unified, multicolored behinds, because your racism and your terrorism will not rule the day.
My sister and I, and she's also here, found out that we are relatives of Jefferson Davis. He was our great uncle. Something my mother, being from Alabama, was pretty proud of. We're not super proud. of that. I think every one of those ridiculous statues need to come down. It's a part of our history and a part of my family that I don't want any part of. This is my son. I'm sure my Uncle Jefferson's rolling over in his grave. Got something to add to that?
Yeah, just that Rachel and I have kind of extended family with exchange students and stuff, and we have people in our family who are Christian, Baptist, Muslim, white, black, Hispanic, Arabic, Irish, a lot of different groups that at one time or another have been subjugated, straight, gay. I don't care. Why would it make any difference? Treat everyone you meet the way they treat you. I just don't understand it, and we just would like to do something. I wish there were more people out here today that say,
Yeah.
just want to change it.
Exactly. Thank you.
If you want to join, if you're in support of moving the statue, there is an organization in Lafayette called Move the Mindset, and we invite you to join us.
I want to say one thing about Robert Lee. I want to say one thing about Robert Lee. The white supremacists came to Charlottesville ostensibly to protest the moving of statues to General Lee. I'm from Virginia. My hometown changed hands 67 times during the Civil War.
Wow.
Because you controlled Winchester, you controlled the breadbasket, and you controlled the approaches to Washington. I have read many things about the Civil War and about Robert Lee. And I can tell you from my heart that if he were alive, he would get on Traveler and he would run those people out of Charlottesville.
I believe that.
I came out today because I may not have known anyone who was marching with those tiki torches in Virginia. I may not have known them personally, but I recognized them. I recognize them because I see them every day. I see them at dinner. I see them at parties in the back, in groups whispering, hushed tone. I see them at church, and I see them at work, and I hear them speaking in generalities and platitudes, but they know what they're saying, and I know what they're saying, and I'm quiet because I've been quiet my whole life, and I can't do it anymore because I know them. And these aren't the older generation that we comforted ourselves and said maybe they'll die off soon and we'll die. No, those were my age. Those were men my age. I'm 28, my age and younger. This is not dead. This is not dying off. So I need to, obviously, I have to speak because silence isn't working. Hoping they'll stop isn't working. We need to name and shame and tell them we will not stand for this anymore. We will not.
Come here. Right now about black people in America. Okay? You are either running free or you're running scared. How you running? Today, I decided I was not going to run scared.
Yes, ma'am.
I told my group from Indivisible, I don't know if I feel comfortable coming. I don't know if I can play token today. But I'm here. Because I thought about my grandparents and my great-grandparents. Everybody at the march yesterday talking about blood and soil. My blood is in the soil. The blood of my ancestors is in the soil. And I would be remiss if I did not come here today to say it has to stop. Yes. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Move the mindset. Everybody get ready and move the mindset. Move the mindset. Move the mindset. Everybody get ready and move the mindset. Woo!
Love that.
Everybody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. talking,
keep on walking.
keep on walking,
Marching on to
marching
freedom.
on to freedom land. Nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on walking, marching on to freedom land.
Very good. Ain't gonna let Richard Spencer turn me around.
I have another poem for you. Inaugural poem, President Obama, 2009, Elizabeth Alexander. Each day we go about our business, walking past each other, catching each other's eyes, are not, about to speak or speaking. All about us is noise, all about us is noise and bramble, thorn and din, each one of our ancestors on our tongues. Someone is stitching up a hymn, adorning a hole in a uniform, patching a tire, repairing the things in need of repair. Someone is trying to make music somewhere with a pair of wooden spoons and an oil drum, with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice. A woman and her son wait for the bus. A farmer considers the changing sky. A teacher says, take out your pencils, begin. We encounter each other in words spiny or smooth, whispered or declaimed, words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads, highways that mark the will of someone, and then others who said, I need to see what's on the other side. I know there's something better down the road. We need to find a place where we are safe. We walk into that which we cannot yet see. Say it plain, that many have died for this day. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here, who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce, built brick by brick the glittering edifices that would keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for struggle, praise song for the day, praise song for every hand-lettered sign, the figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by love thy neighbor as thyself, others by first do no harm or take no more than you need. What if the mightiest word is love? Love beyond marital, filial, national. Love that casts a widening pool of light. Love with no need to preempt ignorance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made, any sentence begin on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp. Praise song for walking forward in that light.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Mary Pritchard, and I want to talk about how to put our words into action. I am doing the Louisiana Precinct Organizing Project, and if you want to come and knock on doors and talk to people and get out the vote.
Here earlier, I'm not sure if they're still here, but they're part of that organization too. So it's an interfaith group. But I just really came down because a member of my church said, hey, this thing is going down, and I wanted to see all of you. And I got here and I heard these wonderful statements being made, and being a Presbyterian, I of course thought, we have like a confession of 67, and there's this confession of Belhard, and then my phone died. So I'm stuck with, the Holy Spirit, which is all we really have anyway. So I know there are those of you who are believers and those of you who are not, but I want to tell you that you are encouraging me, and I hope to encourage you. And I'd like to just offer a word of prayer, giving thanks for this time together, and also asking for comfort for those who have been harmed.
Yes.
So if you will, indulge me, join in prayer. Gracious, holy, loving God, in this time and in this place, we claim territory for peace, knowing that it is already yours. Oh God, be in and among our conversations, plant seeds in our hearts and in our minds and our lives and in this community, that we might be able to develop opportunities that will protect the vulnerable, that will allow for conversation that will have no room for hatred and division. Lord God, we know that in those conversations there will be conflict. And so we ask for you to inspire us, to encourage us, empower us, that we might actually be a part of what you're doing in this world. We lift up specifically those in Charleston who are harmed, those families who will, for years and years, need to forgive and forgive and forgive. Oh God, we even lift up those who were moved by their hatred, who are left with nothing but that. Break their hearts of stone, O God. And do the same for ours. Remove all indifference that we might recognize our gay and lesbian and transgender and different gender orientations, and black and white and Latino, those who wear a badge, those who don't. Help us to be able to say that Black Lives Matter in a way that people understand that's not dismissing anyone else.
Thank you.
Right. Yes.
Help us to be able to say that Blue Lives Matter in a way that that's not dismissing anybody else.
Thank you.
Help us to be able to say that all the colors of the rainbow matter without dismissing anybody else. Oh God, be in and among us this day as we move forward, bearing your peace into the world. Where there is darkness, and you give us light that we might dispel that darkness. Pray these things in the name of the Most High God. Amen.
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 Thank you.